Hi, hi guys. Hi everyone. This is Girish Kumar, and my student ID is 0918612. Hi, Professor. We are giving our group presentation now. So the group presentation with Google Motorola acquisition. Okay, so the introduction of the project, like Google is a multinational IT company that started as simple idea in 1995 in terms. However, it not initially known as Google. It started as a search engine known as Backrub. The Backrub was later renamed Google, aligning into its mission of organizing information and making it globally accessible. Today, the company has expanded to include making of products like Android apps, YouTube, and Gmail. However, advertising the Google main source of revenues. Okay, and the context of the change is on August 15, 2011. Okay, so Google announced the agreement to acquire the Motorola Mobility for 40% of share in 2011. Okay, so it was the largest acquisition by the company with the total cost of being $12.5 billion. Okay, so the world at the same time, the shareholders were shocked at the announcement. The Google maintained the acquisition was necessary. Okay, the acquisition was approved by the leaders in both companies, resulting in a vertical merge. Okay, so the move was to allow to the Google, a software company, get into the hardware market without starting a hardware company from the scratch. Therefore, the Motorola Mobility was started the gate pass to the hardware market as well. Okay, and further, Google felt threatened by the Samsung in the operating systems market. Therefore, the Motorola Mobility was to help the Google protect its share of the market against the key competitors in 2020. Additionally, the acquisition was to grant Google crucial patent rights to be able to implement the creative ideas which required software and hardware integration. Google was also wanted to capture more market share in the mobile phones market by selling quality phones at much lower price in 2011. Okay, in essence, the context of the change was to have to company best in the software and other best in the hardware and development of the intellectual property joins efforts to the faster innovation and probability. And from the next slide, my teammate Swati will take over.
Hello, Professor. My name is Swati Patel, and my student ID number is 0902945. And I'm going to explain about the type of changes. The type of changes experienced by the Google was acquisition or vertical merger. And acquisitions occur when a company buys all or most of the assets from the another company by the Canton 2025. The acquiring company gets full of control the acquired company if it purchases 50% or more shares. The primary focus in acquisition is to be able to control the other companies' elements like resources, market shares, and production and assets. The companies in return benefits from the diversifications, wider market share, cost of reduction, and new opportunities for growth. And the most cases, we can say that acquisitions are friendly. As such, approval is granted by the board. The such an arrangement in further mutually, which is beneficially for both the firms. Our reason for acquisitions include decreasing. It will be decrease the competition and it going to be enter the new market. This where the driving force of the Google's, which needs for Motorola mobility acquisition. Google needed to join the hardware market sooner, but at a lower cost. So the company also needed to decrease the Samsung competitions in the hardware market. And at the last, we can see that Samsung was also the time planning on joining the OS market, which would render Google's OS, and it is a less useful by the RAI 2020. And therefore, there was an urgent need to decrease the competition. The next slide will be presented by my team member, Sheikh Soeb. Your phone is mute.
Hi everyone, my name is Sheikh Shoaib. I'm gonna tell what we worked about the project. A few things worked for Google after the acquisition for assistance. Google's patent licensing increased from $420 million to $1.23 billion in the last quarter to 2011 20s 2014. Google also managed to protect its manufacturing partners from patent uh, litigation, something that companies struggled with before the acquisition 2014. Further, after Google sold Motorola Mobility to Lenovo, the company retained patent rights worth billions of dollars. Miller and Gillis 2014. The advantage of having these patent rights also saved Google tax liabilities through the tax strategy Fuentes 2014. Motorola Mobility's losses also helped Google save a lot in taxes. In addition, Google managed to expand its smartphones sales through Motorola Mobility as it had failed to do so through Nexus copy of 2014. The company sold Motorola's phones at a much lower price, which implied most consumers had access to smartphones. As a result, Google was able to extend its services to more people, thereby getting more reviews. Motorola Mobility also gained by being able to compete with bigger brands like Samsung. Google also gained entry into the television manufacturing businesses through the sale of Motorola. Mobility's television set-up boxes. While Google gained a lot from the acquisition deal, some few things did not work out, leading to an eventual sale of Motorola Mobility to Lenovo in 2013. Google was not able to keep up while the increasing competition in the smartphone industries. The company's CEO noted success in the market segment required an all-in approach, of which Google was unable to do. Furthermore, Google could not have Motorola Mobility as a favorite as it retained partnerships with other Android manufacturers like Samsung. Google still needed good relations with the other Android manufacturers as it also relied on them to sell its services to consumers. Therefore, there was some level of conflict of interest in the deal, which may have made Google slow down on in-house smartphone manufacturing. Additionally, Motorola still made losses from the sale of its phone even after cost cutting, which also adversely affected Google's profitability. As a result, Google opted to sell Motorola Mobility to Lenovo to focus on its services, which were the main sources of income. And the next slide will be Usman Ahid.
Hello, friends. Hello, Professor. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to talk on this subject and topic. Okay, my name is Usman Ahid, and my student ID number is 889156. Okay, here I would like to talk about the conclusion. Like the whatever presentation we have made. I'm here to conclude that. And from the analysis, both companies seems to have gained from the deal. Google expanded into the hardware industry and now owns thousands of patent rights. Motorola Mobility, on the other hand, benefited by having its brand enhanced to compete with other bigger brands like Samsung and Apple. Google may have made a mistake by acquiring Motorola Mobility. However, the benefits outweigh the losses. These are the conclusions we have made from the PowerPoint, and then I would like to show you guys some team recommendations, which includes a company intending to get into a deeper acquisition should realize it's a high risk change event. For instance, the acquired company's losses become their losses. And the second is an acquisition should be mutually beneficial to both organizations while it lasts and after it ends. And then we also have seen that the acquiring company should know when to revert the change when it is no longer serving the company's interest. A sense of urgency should also apply both when implementing and reversing change, and deploy strategic decisions to benefit both companies. Next, I would like to show you guys the references which we have taken from the different books and Google sites which we have mentioned here. This is where we have gotten all of our information for the PowerPoint. And then thank you so much for you guys to joining me in this meeting, and your all of your work is being appreciated. And thank you so much, Professor, for our work. And if you guys have any doubts, and you can let me know. And if the remaining students have any doubts with our PowerPoint, you can let us know in the discussions, and we would like to give the good feedback and explanations on this. Thank you so much. See you guys later.
Thank you so
Thank you so
much.
much.
Thank you.